The night the devil chased my mom, I was 6 years old. We were living in a crumbling part of downtown Steubenville, Ohio, in a rickety 2-story house with paint so peely I could pull it off in strands. The house had 3 bedrooms, one for my sister and I to share, one for my mom, and one for Sister Helen, the nun who had been hopscotching from house to house with us for the last 2 years. Mom met Sister Helen several years after divorcing Dad. She convinced my mother to move with her to Ohio, where a charismatic community of Catholics on crack were flocking together at the College of Steubenville. In our new house, there was a small living room, which Mom and Sister Helen had turned into a chapel. It had bench seating that lined 2 opposing walls and an altar on the back wall, complete with Sacred Heart of Jesus and Mary statues. Flickering red votive candles, just like you see at Mass, were set up around the altar, and a dish of real holy water, blessed by priests, was set at the room's entrance. My mom imparted to us that there was no good in this world without evil, so it was important to remember that Satan and his spirit minions were always flying at us, trying to turn us bad. How is this lesson illustrated in our daily lives? Well, let's say my sister and I were going through an ornery phase and acting like little brats. Naturally, my mom would bring us to the chapel and pray over us, exorcism style. Mom, Sister Helen, random freaky college students, and sometimes priests and monks would all put their hands on our heads at the same time and pray that the evil spirit would be gone. Unlike my sister, who would always close her eyes along with everyone else, probably in an effort to transport herself out of the land of Oz, I would always open mine and study the faces surrounding me. With their eyes closed, the adults looked like different people in the way people sometimes do when they sleep, except it wasn't peace but ferocity that transformed the lines of their faces. Along with this spiritual package of warding off evil spirits came Mom's constant warnings against playing games associated with black magic, like light as a feather, stiff as a board, Bloody Mary, or Ouija boards. These games were considered sacrilegious, and experimenting with them could open up a door to the spiritual realm that you did not want to open. Back then, that was enough of a warning for me. We were already in evil spirit overflow, so was I about to willingly creak open a door to another dimension, peek out at the general spirit population, and wave them on in? Hell no. At some point, my mom could see that all the evil spirit, demon, and devil chat was freaking us out at night. So she said extra long prayers with us. I too said my prayers fervently, praying that if the devil did show up, he'd have to go through Mom first. She prayed like 10,000 times more often than I did, so I was sure she could take him down. As it turned out, that is more or less what she did. One fateful night after my sister and I had gone to bed, the door to our bedroom was open, and I heard screams just before I saw Mom running down the narrow hallway with a fiery beast behind her. I scrambled out of the covers and saw she had made a beeline for the bathroom. Mom threw the devil into the bathtub and turned the shower on him, much like you turn a hose on a feral cat. Almost too afraid to look, I parted the shower curtain just slightly and poked my head in, realizing slowly that not the Prince of Darkness, but the 1970s macrame hanging in Mom's room, right next to some lit candles, had been vanquished. It wasn't the devil who chased my mom that night, but because I had been so convinced that it had been, this event kicked off a disillusionment that would continue into my young adulthood. It dawned on me that there were discrepancies between what I was told as a kid and what was actually happening in reality. What I eventually decided is that I still believe in God, but not so much the devil. I know evil does exist in the form of bad people who do horrible things, but not in the form of demons and black magic. One recent weekend, my 7-year-old son wailed to me at bedtime, breathless and barely able to tell me what was freaking him out. He'd heard about good old Bloody Mary from the kids on the bus, and he was terrified. I remembered that vulnerable feeling all too well, and it really pissed me off. So the next morning, we walked into the bathroom, shut the door, lit a red candle, turned off the bathroom lights, held hands, looked into the mirror, and chanted, "Bloody Mary." Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. It was something my mother would have rather died than do with me when I was a kid. When nothing happened, of course, my son beamed from ear to ear and walked out of the room. I stayed behind, still gazing in the mirror, remembering the days when I would have gone fetal at the prospect of Bloody Mary coming through that mirror to pull me over to the dark side. I smiled, shook my head, leaned in close to the mirror, and said, "Bring it, bitch."